Okay, 2012, the year the world ends according to the Mayans. It's Sunday, January the 8th, my first walk of 2012. In fact, my first walk of any length for a fortnight or so. So a couple of pounds to lose. Today I'm walking from Hassocks in Sussex, around 11 miles to Lewes, over the Downs, South Downs, and anticipated time's 5.5 hours. Should be done by 4:30, now 11 o'clock, so that should fit in well with today's sunset, which is 4:10, allowing an extra 20-25 minutes of walking time thereafter. So it's a bit of a grey old day, not too cold though, it's about 13-14 degrees, so ideal for walking. At the moment it's not too windy, but I'm sure that'll change up on the Downs. So let's press on. At this point, 3 minutes after starting, I'm taking the alternative route here, as mentioned in the text. The alternative route, as described in the text, runs alongside the railway line, as opposed to through the wood next door on my left, I presume. Don't know if I mentioned at the beginning, but this is book 1, walk 29. Slowly getting my way through book 1 now. Probably 3 or 4 more to do. Some of them are very short, mainly on the west of London though, where I've had issues with transport. But yeah, we'll get them done probably in the next couple of weeks. Get them out of the way while the days are relatively short. Plenty of bird song around now. Normal for this time of year. Talking of bird song, interesting place to have your nest. Obviously not bothered by the noise. Yeah, clearly the main route goes through this wood, butcher's wood. Managed by the Woodland Trust. Sunday morning football going on behind me somewhere. Point 8 of the text, emerging from the wood with the Clayton Jack and Jill windmills up there on the horizon. Point 8 of the text, a very interesting turreted tunnel there with a house above it. Referring back to that nest earlier, that would be equally a noisy place to live. The unusual looking church at Clayton, St John the Baptist. Point 11, just coming through the wooden swing gate, continue uphill following the public bridleway, where ultimately we'll come out next to the windmills, I believe. Approaching the windmills. And the view from the location of the windmills, and I spy in the distance there, just down there, yet another windmill. Let's go and get a close-up of these windmills. This is Jill, built in 1852 with something known as the Sussex downtail, apparently. Sorry, I meant to say the Sussex tail pole, which is that contraption at the back on wheels, which enables the windmill to be changed wind direction wise. And here we have the much more dilapidated black jack windmill. You can't really get a decent view of it because it's surrounded by bushes and hedges, but clearly not as well maintained. And facing in the opposite direction, don't know if that's also got wheels, but I get the impression from the contraption to the rear that it would have done. A scenic view just before we branch off towards Ditchling Beacon at point 12, I think it is in the text. Looks like there's people hang gliding over there today. I must admit it's incredibly busy today. Lots of people are around, obviously, with the same idea of walking off their Christmas festivities. So as you can see, at this point we've walked 1.7 miles from Hassocks, and we've got 2 to go to Ditchling Beacon. Devil's Dyke is 4 miles yonder. Not only are we following the South Downs Way here, but also something called Downs on Your Doorstep, Chattery and the Windmills. Point 14 of the text, and I'm noticing along the hedgerow here all the lovely gorse has been slaughtered. Provides useful protection for the birds, but it's gone. Just at the swing gate mentioned at point 14 in the text, and there we have our first sighting of the sea beyond, not sure if that's Fisher Gate as opposed to Brighton. Remnant of a medieval dew pond, now used for other purposes. Hema Post once again, which I filmed a couple of months back. Can't remember that walk. I know we passed Ditchling though. Can't remember the walk number. Anyway, now 12 o'clock for the timekeepers. Been walking just over an hour. Another dew pond, but this one full of water, and as it should be. One called Burnt House Pond, and some information there for those that want to read further. Plenty of lovely gorse in flower even now. And there's another one. Simple concept: dig a hole, catch the rainwater. Lovely. Some of those lovely views again. Filmed this before, but always nice to get a all year round view. Not far from Ditchling Beacon now, probably the highest point on this walk at 248 metres. The view from the 248 metre trig point. Pretty grey today, but impressive nonetheless. Over there in the distance is Brighton and Hove Albion's new ground. I think it's Fulmer Road, the name of that. Some corporate company sponsors it, but I can't remember which one it is. Might be Amex. Even on a relatively cold winter's day like today, the ice cream van mentioned in the text is doing a roaring trade. Looking back at the former Iron Age fort that is Ditchling Beacon and its surrounding view, good place for a fort, eh? Another look back at Ditchling Beacon. You can see much better now how well positioned it is as a fort. I notice there's a bus just pulled in over there now as well, which is useful to know for those that might need it. A view from point 20 of the text, and possibly the quietest part of the walk thus far. No planes, few people because the car parks are out of reach. Just quietness. And I do believe that's Cuckmere Haven over there. Just noticed that bullock there. It's got some interesting horns. Seem to be cockeyed. One's up and one's down. No good to man nor beast, if you excuse a pun. Okay, it's around 1 o'clock. Just reached the fork mentioned in the text, where you can go down that way left to Plumpton for the pub lunch, or, as I'm going to do, you can enter this gate here onto access land. That's what that sign's that very worn sign indicates, and enjoy the views sitting on the grassy bank. See if I can find a suitable position. Certainly a very pleasant vista. So today's lunchtime view. Okay, I'm just having my lunch. Right at the maximum range of my camera, this fox has appeared on the scene. Not often you see them like that. Well, of course you do see plenty of them in London, but this one's in all his prime glory. Nice reddish russet colour. I know some rabbits about as well, so whether he's on their trail or not I don't know. Anyway, I think it's possibly only the second time I've caught a fox on camera, and the last time it disappeared pretty pronto. I didn't get a very good image. Now this one's gone out of view as well. Anyway, pleasant little addition to my lunch. Further views of the Cuckmere in the distance there. Well, at least that's what I believe it is. Just noticed on my phone that Man United are winning 2-0 at Man City. Vincent Kompany sent off. That's their best player. So that's bad news. Just entering the National Trust's Blackcap estate. Having just passed the five-fingered sign. Commemoration stone here. This wood at Blackcap was replanted in 1953 to commemorate Queen Elizabeth II's coronation. So that makes these trees almost 60 years old, seeing as we're about to approach her diamond jubilee. And views to the south of the trig point, 206 metres high here, so just over 600 feet, and it is considerably colder up here than it is down at ground level, sea level. Approaching the beacon post mentioned at point 33 in the text. And associated views from it, or from near it. Views to the south from a point near the beacon post. Getting quite hazy now. That's the weather, not me. Very easy walking at the moment along grassy paths. Has been quite muddy and wet underfoot, being on top of chalk in places, but no complaints really. Classic South Downs scene with the sheep busy munching. Point 38 of the text and 37 and 6, a little bit confusing. Obviously things change over time, but I've got to the right point anyway, which is the T-junction, where we branch off down here and then turn right. So point 38 again, turning right, and we're now on this very pleasant woodland walk, which is not commonplace for these South Down walks, but a very pleasant finale. Nice and still in here. Point 39, walking down this chalky track towards Lewes. St Peter's Church, Hamsey. Good old solid flint building. Okay, that church was actually Offham. So, and this is the water meadows that we're now crossing at Offham. Very pleasant it is as well. Quite soft underfoot, but not muddy, because when I raise bank here, just about to go under the railway bridge. As you can see, quite muddy in places, but it's avoidable. Very pleasant little spot here. Sun's trying to break through now. This last section along the Ouse, absolute quagmire.
Yeah, it is.
So on a wet day like today, definitely need some kind of boots on. Started this walk following a railway line, and we're ending it in the same manner. Just up ahead of me in the distance, Lewes Castle and the town of Lewes. And the Ouse on my left. Again, just in the distance there, a kingfisher. Just saw it dart across the river, and I'm at a maximum range of my lens again. But that is a rare sight these days. Shows how clean the Ouse must be. Very difficult to catch sight of these, but that is beautiful. Shame I can't get any closer. Look at those colours. Absolute delight on the edge of Lewes. Gone. So that's two interesting features today, or creatures I should say. Kingfisher and a fox, right at the maximum range of my lens. I'm very close to the bridge, incidentally, where that kingfisher was. We don't cross that, we turn right here. Incredibly muddy along this stretch of riverbank, so take that into account when you're doing this walk. Strange name for a church, St John sub Castro. Omnipresent jackdaw. So just outside the castle, and the sun comes out. Quite an interesting view from up here. Looking back at the downs where we were earlier. Railway line down below. Just like a train set, really. Stone here commemorating Tom Paine, who wrote The Rights of Man. He was a resident of Lewes. The other plaques were, there were people sitting next to them, but the other plaques were about the Battle of Lewes. And the Church of Sub Castro is obviously Latin for under castle, and apparently there's an obelisk commissioned by Tsar Alexander II to commemorate the 28 prisoners of war who were captured during the Crimean War and who died in Lewes jail in the 1850s. Well, there is some of what's left of the castle. As we walk down this nice little lane, bowling green on the left and the downs in the background. What a lovely backdrop. And there's some information about the castle bowling green. This is the Barbican Gate, or what's left of it. Another shot of the castle from another angle. Interesting church here, St Michael in Lewes. Full house over there, home of Tom Paine. And there you go, a bit of information about the man. So back at Lewes, good hour ahead of schedule. I'm now able to get the 4:15 or thereabouts back to Victoria. That was book 1, walk 29. Very pleasant walk it was indeed. Just the right sort of walk for a winter's day like today. Shake the cobwebs off after Christmas. Absolutely delightful. Feel much better for that. That's another one down.